I took a solo trip recently, and I believe that solo trips are extremely important. I went for about 2 weeks, or took off for about 2 weeks to reset myself. And during that 2 week period, part of the time was my solo trip. I drove from the Washington, D.C. area and went to North Carolina and went to South Carolina. And during that time, I was so inspired because I saw the grit of Americans. I saw the creativity of people. I saw hardworking people. I also saw a calmness that was present pretty much throughout the entire trip, or the entire ride down to North Carolina and to South Carolina. But it almost seemed like people weren't living their best lives. It seemed like people were trying. People were getting out, but people weren't really engaging in life in the ways that I've seen people engage in life previously. And it could just be the perspective through which I see life. But even through that perspective, I was still inspired by the people that I encountered. Every time I take a solo trip, I am reminded that I'm never alone. I am reminded that God brings people into your life that you need at a specific time. I ran into people in the other states that I knew from back home, randomly in bars in the middle of nowhere. And through that trip, I was reminded of the importance of travel. Travel is, for me, so much more than showing off what you did and who you were with and the experiences that you have had. It's so much more than just sharing those things. And we like doing those things. People like sharing their experiences and where they were able to visit. But it was also about connecting with people and understanding the variety of cultures that exist even within this culture, the variety of ways of living and thinking that I would not have been exposed to had I stayed home and just continued to put my head down and be on the grind and in the grind and work. Travel, for me, especially when I was younger, was about exploration, about understanding different cultures and people and expanding my intellect. And somewhere along the lines, it was distorted to be solely about partying and showing off and having a good time, until those things began to be monotonous and unfulfilling, to a point where I didn't want to travel because the experience was more superficial than enriching and enlightening. And because I entered my solo trip this time with a different perspective, because for a while I just didn't travel and didn't go to certain places for that reason, because it just became a superficial exercise. I, in this experience, reconnected with the beauty of exploring a place and its people and its cultures, and really gaining a different type of respect for a variety of backgrounds and ways of thinking and environments that exist not only throughout America, but throughout the world. And so when people travel, it's become this thing where, we want to escape. It's another form of escapism, but then it's a layered form of escapism where some people have, alcohol and drugs while they're at home, but then you go to travel to escape the home and you also have the alcohol and drugs, and it just becomes this large production of escapism versus really leaning into and experiencing what life has to offer. I was able to hike and see some amazing things and commune with nature. I was able to go on a safari and interact with animals, monkeys, ligers, tigers, a whole host of animals. And it just reminded me of the beauty of simplicity, the beauty that exists for free in nature, that was able to rejuvenate and refresh me. And it's just available to us. And so it's extremely important, I think, for people to find and create space to travel, even if that travel is within an hour of where you live, because most people aren't going within an hour or two from where they live. It doesn't have to be a flight across the world in order to be a journey that enriches your mind and your spirit, because there are always going to be new exercises and new experiences for you to enjoy. I feel like travel can become a very spiritual thing if we enter it with the right perspective. Most things, if we look at it from the right perspective, and right being any perspective that gets you closer to your purpose and closer to energies that are of a higher frequency, if we're looking through these experiences in that way, they can be extremely beneficial for us. It is one of those things that allows me to be more creative, traveling. It is a vehicle through which I take those experiences and I apply it to what I'm doing in my environment. If you go to other countries, you'll see architecture and food and social activities that you won't see where you live. Those ideas help to expand, in my opinion, human consciousness, because now you're aware of even more capabilities that are out there and available to us. And, sometimes it doesn't take physically going somewhere to do that, because we have in the palm of our hands devices that allow us to experience a variety of worlds, a variety of places at the click of a button. And so I would encourage anybody who is looking for a jolt of creativity, spiritual reconnection, a refreshed mind, body, and spirit, to take some time to travel, even if it's at least an hour or 2 hours from where you are, because you never know what seeds you can be planting, not only in yourselves, but in others, just by the simple action of taking a trip.